Hey, welcome everyone. It is Cindy coming to you from Ahihik. I'm learning how to pronounce it. And this is where the rubber meets the road. I have a little, I don't know if it's a teaching, but I have some things to share, and then I'm gonna open it up. And I'm not the music's gonna come in a few minutes. So Barbie, your job is to remind me to pause and unpause. Um, Stillness, not forgiveness, but it's stillness and resting that was on my heart. And when I sat with it, um, I'm gonna read a little bit from Workbook Lesson 182, and I'm gonna play this song, "Be Still and Know," Jeremy Riddle, and then I'll read a little bit more. I'll tell a story, and I'll open things up. Lesson 182. And feel free to close your eyes and let it come in. And also be still, be willing to acknowledge that you've been in, um, that A Course in Miracles has been calling to most of us for quite some time. So instead of using your critical mind in listening to these words, why not accept that they come from spirit and they speak truth? That just brought tears to my eyes. So perhaps there's some validity there for me. Okay. This world you seem to live in is not home to you. And somewhere in your mind, you know that this is true. Memory of home keeps haunting you as if there were a place which calls you to return, although you do not recognize the voice nor what it is the voice reminds you of. Still, do you feel an alien here from somewhere all unknown? Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty you are an exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. No one but knows whereof we speak, but some try to put by their suffering in games they play to occupy their time and keep their sadness from them. Others will deny that they are sad and do not recognize their tears at all. Still others will maintain that what we speak of is illusion, not to be considered more than but a dream. Yet who in simple honesty, without defensiveness and self-deception, would deny he understands the words we speak? Now the song. When you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, then will you hear his voice. So poignantly, he calls to you that you will not resist him longer. In that instant, he will take you to his home, and you will stay with him in perfect stillness, silent and at peace, beyond all words, untouched by fear and doubt, sublimely certain that you are at home. So the story, I am, I find myself in this community for 30 days, which means that I am interacting with others. It's kind of cool. And I am guided, and it is my spiritual practice to use everything to know the truth of who I am. And I made that as my mission and my requirement. So the story goes, when I first got here on Wednesday, they left a bowl of fruit in my room, which was stunning and amazing, and I've been eating it. And the fruit included bananas, and there were 4 or 5 bananas, and I had eaten one of them, I think. And somehow, Saturday night into Sunday morning, more and more, all I could do was smell those bananas, and they were starting to make me feel sick, which was an interesting feeling. And I woke up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And all of a sudden, the smell of bananas was making me nauseous. And I picked up the bananas. I have access to an outside kitchen. And I brought those bananas to the outside kitchen and I threw them away. Now, this is 5 a.m. in the morning. And I went back in and did what I was going to do, and I completely forgot about the bananas.
Hit my car.
Which is kind of interesting, right? And then the Sunday gathering, the sanctuary started, and I read my announcement. I put myself on pause. I turned my video off, and it's crazy. I just went to the kitchen. You know, it's amazing how you get set up. And there was a woman in the community who was there, and I was talking to her, and she was offering me golden milk, which is stunningly gorgeous. And she opened up to throw something away in the garbage, and she saw those bananas. Like, who threw away perfectly good bananas? You? And she looked at me. You know who threw away those bananas? Like, you think it's a... And my heart just like, oh my God, I am the worst sinner in the world. Like, I felt it. Ah! And I looked at her and I, around here, I don't know what you said. I can't, I said, I did. The smell was overpowering, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I was feeling, it was so interesting. But I put them right there on the top. It was sort of like a telltale heart moment, by the way, when I had to get those bananas out of the room. But she took them out and she's like, maybe we should freeze them. And they were going on a silent retreat, and she put them in a bag and we got them frozen. And I'm sitting with the whole experience of it. But instead of feeling guilty or like I did something wrong, which is what the human in me wanted to do, like, oh shit, no matter where I go or what I do, I'm going to fuck it up. What must she think? Something in here attempted to go that route, but I couldn't believe that how perfectly it was all set up. Like the whole thing was set up, right? You can't make this stuff up. And then so instead I sat and I waited, and all these memories of being a kid in my kitchen came up, and I couldn't do anything right. And the whole kind of feeling of being stuck between a rock and a hard place in this world of form, right? It's sort of the modus operandus. No matter what we do, we can't get it right. And at that point, it came up, and I looked at it, and I simply asked the powers that be that set it up to help it be forgiven in me. And I could feel it. I could feel it release, like, and it's just further for me, it's a continuation of the evidence of the reading, even of this world here. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not what the thinking mind says it is. And the more I choose to use it as nothing other than a reflection of what's going on here, the more opportunities arise to heal all the sense of lack and unworthiness and guilt and shame. And when that happens, the world changes. And so, um, and the key was to be still enough, to be quiet enough, to not be caught in the story, right? To be still enough and quiet enough to allow the feelings to arise. And they were bananas, right? We're not talking about throwing away somebody's diamond ring. Not that that would make it, they were bananas. But the feeling that arises of getting caught, the feeling that arose of doing something wrong and allowing it to come up and know it was set up by God or the universe or whatever, to allow that sense of not being able to do anything right to come up and be healed. Um, in the stillness and in the quiet, that's where the healing takes place. Um, that's what I have for us today. And thank you for being here. And Livy, it's all yours.
Thanks for sharing that, Cindy. I could so identify with it. Sorry that I missed last week. I had a very significant conversation and guidance from Rana the week before. And I mean almost a decade, I have had very vivid dreams of moving back to San Francisco. Y'all have heard me talk. It was 30 years ago that I was introduced to A Course in Miracles there, and yada yada. And but these dreams, and I'd had one again the night before I spoke with Rana, and I was like, am I supposed to move to San Francisco and get there and say, okay, why am I here? And I had a major significant occurrence when I was there, because I was involved, very heavily in the Theosophical Society and in the Sufi community, and had the deepest relationship with the God of my understanding. And I remember being in the park one day. I was so anxious. I took a day off work, and I had met a man who represented everything that I thought I had healed from. And it was familiar, and I was lonely, and my prayers had concerned, I'm really lonely. I would really like to meet someone. And apparently I had more work to do, and this man was an alcoholic. And so I became involved with him. It was such it was like I chose to go with this man and turned my back on God, the God that I had at that time. And I was so anxious one day, I couldn't get out of the bed. I couldn't turn my head. I'd never had anxiety like that. And the only thing that would help it was my roommate had some sound CDs, and that helped. And I'm bringing all this up because, like I said, for about a decade, I've had all these dreams about going back to San Francisco, moving back there, and I mentioned it to Rana, and, she helped me understand that story of moving back there was to forgive myself for what I perceived as a separation. And that, what I'm realizing now, and I've done some journaling on it, was the God of my understanding during that time was totally separate from me. I was praying to a God that was out there. Even though I'd had oneness experiences, I still perceived being separate from God. And what I have the opportunity now is to heal and forgive myself, and to release the guilt and the shame around having done that, because it's not possible for me to separate myself from God. And that's what I'm learning now, and getting it in my core that I am not separate from God. And what a wonderful opportunity to let go of that story and to heal myself. And then I'm going through letting go of some other old beliefs. And my dreams are really helping me work these things out. And so I've been journaling about my dreams. And I'm so grateful to be in a community that focuses and helps me understand it's just a story. It's just a story and a belief that I'm clinging to and that wants to keep me in guilt, that wants to keep me mainly in guilt and shame. And I'm so grateful for this community, and I'm so grateful to have Rana as my sponsor to help me work through these things in the oneness way. You know, she did a beautiful body scan with me the other day, and just learning, as that song said, be still, be still. And I just wanted to share that as far as the forgiveness part and just the wonderful clarity and understanding of nothing has any meaning except what I give it. And I'm grateful now that my dreams continue helping me, showing where I need to heal, where I'm clinging to a story. And I'm just really, really grateful for that. And I'm really grateful for this community and to be a part of this community. And I just really love all y'all very, very much and just appreciate all the gifts that I get every time I'm with you. And so thank you so much for allowing me to come through an open door. And so peace, y'all.
Peace.
I have to do one because I have a cat in my lap. So I have to do, just a one arm tug. So love y'all. Thanks for letting me share.
Ah, thank you. And I don't have a cat in my lap, so I can do this. Who else would like to share? Rana.
Hello. Thanks.
Hello.
Livy. Thank you so much, Livy. Yeah, I had a story too. I'm grateful that Cindy gave me the heads up on what the lesson was ahead of time. And so yesterday I spent some time with the lesson and looked it over. And what's really cool is because it's not the first time through, right? There's certain things that are underlined and highlighted and little notes in the margins that just bring it all to life for me every time. And then new things that I didn't see before or have clarity about that really hit now. So I'm grateful that it's not a one and done thing, that this is always available to deepen. What I decided to do was to sit with the lesson title and contemplate it. And I would like to share that with you and then tell you a small story. So I will be still an instant and go home. Be still. Feel love envelope. Or envelop, I guess. Yeah, feel love envelope. The mind tricks us sometimes into emotions from past, stories from past. The holy instant is the opportunity to pause and allow, rest and trust. Allow what is here to be seen with the light of awareness. Shift from attention on the world of illusion to your inner world. Be at home. Rest. Ego uses memory to create the separate self illusion. Persevere. This quote story is the same as all others. There is no degree to illusion. Truth is now, in this instant. Feel the love behind the story. The story points to love, trust, safety. all that which truth represents. The story of one who exuded and demonstrated spirit. Be glad. It contributes to who you are. You were shown. Now come to me. I love you. All is well. So that came after I had attended a recovery gathering this morning, where the topic was fear. And you know how meetings, sometimes you start out with something and then it evolves into something else, you know? And a lot of people were pointing to losing their pets. There was somebody that was getting ready to put a beloved dog down today. There were lots of people that had pet stories and you know, similarities. And it was really beautiful how people, you know, try to have compassion and relate and say, you're not going through this alone, and just reaching out that hand, you know, anything we can do for you, let us know. The whole time the mind was screaming. It's October 7th. Your dad died 7 years ago. They're talking about pets. You need to be sad. You should walk around with a frown today. Oh, poor you. Well, you're okay now. This was the thing you feared the most, but you're okay now. But still, I want to tell all these people it's not about pets. You know, I mean, that's what it was, just going back and forth. And I sat very quietly. I even stayed, we have a parking lot at the end of the meeting where everybody kind of hangs out, you know, and says whatever. And if anybody didn't get a chance to share during the hour, they say, hey, I want to share something. And there was just like this thing inside, share about it, tell them. And then there was just this real truth that that's not necessary. It's a story. And so that's when I sat with the lesson. And so I feel like the contemplation was really pointing out not to, you know, minimize the idea that this is my dad's anniversary, but the truth is about me. I'm not a death anniversary celebrator. I never have been. That's not something that sticks in my mind. It does about my dad. But is it more important than all, you know what I mean? And so there was this real pointing how ego is trying to make this particular story very important today, very personalized, right? And then just, I'll be right there. Okay, my plumber is here now. But anyway, it was a real possibility to just look at this and sink in and be still. And rest home and allow it all to just come up and happen, and know that I would have an opportunity to share with this gathering the truth of what that was all about. And so I'm very grateful, very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ronna. And thank you for sharing your heart. I feel the ache of the loss, celebration of the love. And how cool that you have a plumbing issue and you can call a plumber and they show up and fix it.
And now I have to go talk with him. Thank you.
Who else is going to share? Please, Andrew. Man, it's cool to see you here. Go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone's comments. I appreciate you, Cindy, for having this meetup. What I've heard just reminds me about what this whole process of A Course in Miracles. It is a gradual process, and it's about how learning that this isn't the real world it took faith to make this world. We made it, we thought it up, we believe it, and then we put our faith in it. And we have so much faith in this world that it takes little miracles, and it takes practice of the lessons and consistency to gradually move your faith from this imaginary world into the truth. And that's what I see when I listen to these stories. It's just something that's been on my mind because I've been reading the course again, and I'm just in this chapter on faith and belief. I forget the name of the chapter, but it's a process, and it can be a very long process, but it's working. It seems to be working for us all. That's my only comment. I don't have a story to pass on. Wait
Thank
for
you,
the
Andrew.
hurricane. Thank you.
Yeah, well, pray that you stay safe and dry.
I think we'll
Come
be
to more meetings if you can't go out. But the one thing before I hand it over to Sandra, had dinner with a friend last night, and someone very, very, very desiring self-realization. I don't remember what he calls it, but it doesn't have a lot of the nomenclature. So one of the things that just came up, because everyone I know knows that A Course in Miracles is a progressive path, and this one is a direct path, and this one is the no path. And he just looked at me. He's like, "What does that mean, a progressive path?" And it allowed me to pause. Because the thing is that as long as I feel like I'm in a body, just like you said, Andrew, there's some work in getting from this sense of being a person separate from you in a body to whatever's next. And we've been having these conversations in the room quite a bit these last couple of weeks. I love all the different paths and I love all the different teachers, but sometimes some of them feel a little cold because they tell me I'm not having the experience I'm having, but I'm having the experience I'm having. And please don't tell me it doesn't hurt, because right now this feels a little painful, and let's hold it. And so sometimes I like the idea that I keep saying, it's the Abraham, the Esther Hicks, that all I have to do at any given moment is to reach for the next highest vibrational thought. So thank you for being here. Sandra, thank you for being here.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Cindy, thank you for that. Just listening to what you just said, don't tell me I'm not having the experience I'm having. Yeah. I've been thinking about that as well, about the cold. It's like a dry, sometimes the non-dual teachings can feel very dry. I don't know why, but they aren't, but they could feel that way. So before I listened to you, I was going to talk about what I got from this lesson, and that was, this lesson is a beautiful lesson. I particularly resonated with go home. Go home. And when it says the child in you knows that he is an alien here, I remember in thinking back over life that doesn't exist anymore. I know that, but the past, I even as a child, I felt like I didn't belong, like I didn't fit in. And I'm finding so many more people now who say that. Maybe we all feel that way. Like I didn't have an easy time making friends, that I was born into the wrong family. I mean, all kinds of thoughts that, and now this lesson is telling me, well, that's the truth. You don't fit in here. You're an alien here. And there's a way to go home. And I love that. I loved the part that said, that she read to us, when you are still an instant, you can be still an instant, he will take you home. You will stay with him in perfect stillness, silent and at peace, beyond all words. And then this part, untouched by fear and doubt. Untouched. But I can be there. I can be in that place. And I'm there right now in this moment. All it took was you reading these words, and here I am, home. With people who do understand me, who say I do belong. And then this word, when you read it, it just jumped out at me. Untouched by fear and doubt in this word, sublimely certain that you are at home. It is a sublime experience. It's an experience that even that word sublime can't capture. And here I am home, safe. The worries I woke up with this morning, I'm sure I did wake up with a worry. I can't even remember it now. It's completely gone. And even before this meeting, I don't know if you picked up on this, Amy, but when you mentioned to me an opportunity was coming up, I immediately reacted like, no, I'm not a teacher. That's gone. It's all gone because I'm home right now. I'm home. Defenselessness is my strength. Love that line too. This course, these words, it's like I was waiting for them all my life, and now here they are. They're like a cool drink of water in a desert, you know? So lay aside your shield. Don't need the shield anymore. Boy, I had lots of shields. I had them all around. So thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy and Amy and everybody else who runs these meetings and take your time to share with us not only your knowledge, but just your love that emanates outward and envelops us and makes me feel at home.
You know, you're talking about yourself too, right? That's the one thing about an open door is that we're all doing it together. It's very, I'm remaining very conscious of that, conscious of recognizing, just like that banana story, right? The banana story is very meaningful for me. Like, I've never gotten up at 5 o'clock in the morning ever in my life and thrown away bananas and then walked away from being in a church circumstance at exactly the right time to have that experience. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not, how do you have an experience like that and then call yourself guilty? Like, that experience wasn't to prove that I was guilty. That experience was because we're setting the intention to be at home. And when we do that, all the stuff in this sense of the separate self rises to the surface, and we get the opportunity to choose to allow it to be forgiven. That's what we're doing in an open door.
Yes, and I know it's all of us. And when I call out particular names to thank you, it's because you set all this up. You're here every week. You open us, you close us. So I want you to accept that gratitude and not deflect it.
It's part of this person's role. Yes. Thank you. You're welcome. Whatever I'm supposed to say. I love us. Hey, Barbie, you're up.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad I'm here today. I don't know where to begin, Bob. yesterday, that song hit me right here. Yesterday when I woke up, I told my husband, I don't feel like I belong. I said, don't take this the wrong way, but I feel like an alien here. Because the night before, I have no idea where I went. Well, anyways, I didn't get to go to church or to the gathering because I slept. But I needed the rest because I'm trying to heal my body. But it was so funny because you're talking about this and everything you're talking about is exactly what I went through yesterday. And then last night I was in pain again, put the heating pad on, and I had to surrender again. And every time I surrender, the pain goes away, then it comes back. And as you were talking, it's like it subsided. But the song hit hard, it answered my prayers, and I know I'm going to be taken care of. Thank you.
When the song came up to play, I knew it was for you. It's for all of us, but you often show up in my space when these songs get chosen. They're all in the playlist, so go ahead and listen to them all. Amy. I'm here, but I would like you to reading. I'll get it to you from IMNet. The meeting's over and I got 15 minutes. Okay. Later. All right, sorry, Amy, you still have to unmute.
Sorry. I might freeze here. First of all, I want to thank Andrew for so succinctly and beautifully expressing what's in my heart about this gathering. It was lovely to hear that. Secondly, I want to say to Sandra, Kendall recommended a Jack Cornfield talk that's about an hour long. And
It's on our list.
Okay, good. I
For
hadn't.
the,
I'm speaking, Cindy.
sorry, I just wanted to let you know, we're discussing it on Halloween.
I'm talking here. That sounds really good. Anyway, I wanted to say, Court, I haven't listened to him in a while, and he is non-dual, but he has such a loving presence. He's not intellectual. He's such a heart teacher, and I can't wait. I'm so glad, Cindy, because I can't wait to for us to share that offering that Kendall made. The other thing I want to say with regard to the bananas, I once listened to a great teaching by a wise sage, and don't ask me to remember who it is because I can't. But a student asked him, if you're sitting on a park bench and you're deep in meditation and somebody comes by with a boombox and sits down next to you and they have their music going, how do you keep meditating? And the sage just says, I don't. I get up and move. Right. I just love that. I love it. So just leave the bench, you know? And the last thing I want to say is that I share a dream that I had, and it doesn't matter the dream, I'll share it some other time. But what I want to say about it is it was full of
So She can hear everything we say, by the way, when she freezes, we already figured that out. So anyone that wants to now say, we love you so much, Amy.
Okay,
it's a good opportunity.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yes,
Okay, I'm off video. So anyway, the statement sublime certainty, I think, is beautiful, and I thank Sandra for bringing that up. At the end of the dream, I laid in bed and went into the silence, recognizing that every single character in the dream is me. And I had this sublime certainty about how the dream and this world are the same. Exactly the same. And it was such a great teaching moment. And when I was in the dream, it was so full of loneliness and isolation and feeling not good enough and all those emotions that we all deal with all the time, including bananas and everything else. And I just had this sublime knowing that it is definitely all one. It's all one. It's all just arising in the moment and then disappearing like smoke, and arising and disappearing, and I can love all of it. And that is my contribution, and I love all of us, and thank you for this gathering, Cindy, and for everyone who's here.
I love us very much too. Thank you for being here. Sorry for interrupting your space. Hey, David.
hey, where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Ajijic.
Is that in Mexico?
Yeah, I'm up the hill. Supposedly it's just 6 minutes walk from Namaste Village. I haven't been there yet.
Okay.
James Twyman's place.
Oh,
And not that far from Living Miracles. So there's a lot of Course in Miracles, like just here.
okay. This morning I was in my morning meeting, and it was a it's a very spiritual group, and as I was appreciating and enjoying that group, I thought this is just a microcosm of what the world can be, because we're all there, we all love each other, it's like any other group. Then I was thinking, any group I'm in, it can be that, and it probably and a lot of it has to do with what I contribute and what my perception is. But anyway, this group, and then I was listening to Sandra talking about teaching, and so it's and she says, "Oh, I can't teach," and da-da. And I often feel the same way, but it's almost like I can't not teach. I mean, we're all teaching every single second of every single day. What we teach is very important. And so, because I used to be the person who'd go to be in a group and stand with my arms crossed in the corner of the room, trying to protect myself from all the things that could happen to me. Try to protect myself from the group, but then, now if I'm out there, how I approach life, how I look at myself, how I look at these other people, do I smile when I see them, and so forth. That I'm teaching, and I feel like I'm always teaching, but so I better. If I better let people know what I feel, what my love is, and if I'm afraid, let them know that too. But because that's honesty. But anyway, I wrote this thing I got up at 4:00 this morning, and because I couldn't sleep. But anyway, I wrote this morning. It's about that teaching that I then I guess learned about to appreciate it in my group. But if I could read this, I would appreciate you listening. If I can see you brighten up and smile, it may be because you're reflecting the light that I am sending you. Then you can pass it on further and help a stranger transform from a seemingly other to becoming a sister or brother, because it's all the same lightness. It's shining away the darkness and illuminating the love that is in all of us, waiting to burst forth. And I just love that poem because I can't not read it, even though I wrote it, and smile when I'm done. And so,
Stunning.
so my job today is just go out there and be the teacher of the love that I feel. And thank you.
Fabulous.
David, would you read it again?
Okay. If I can see you brighten up and smile, it might be because you're reflecting the light that I am sending you. Then you can pass it on further and help a stranger transform from a seemingly other to becoming a sister or a brother. Because it's all the same lightness, it's shining away the darkness and illuminating the love that is in all of us, waiting to burst forth. And that's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
And I'm so glad you're sharing it with us. Nadego's in the house. Hello, my friends. You'll have to unmute if you want us to hear you, though. You're still muted. Did that help?
Thank you.
There you go.
I just love being here with everyone, and I love these workbook lessons. Just to be still, and yeah, I'm just so grateful for everyone, and I just love being here. That's really just all I want to say. Thank you so much, everyone. And I love listening and hearing everyone. So it's such a joy. Thank you.
So we have 6 minutes. If no one wants to say anything, that song is 6 minutes long. We could always play it again. Room is open for anybody else to share. Shall I just play it? I can't hear it enough, so.
I don't have a share, but I'd just like to say it's nice to see Livy again. I haven't seen Livy for a long time. But
Right back,
Have you-
sorry, right back at you, Chuck. I said hey to you in the chat too. I've missed you. It's so wonderful to have a chance to be with you.
I'm going to stop the recording and play the song. Here we go.